So here we go. A strange hand stirs you awake and simply motions you to follow. Barudramir offers you a friendly nod and silently leads you out of the tent. The forest is eerily quiet. There are no indications of life near you that you can tell. Unsettling torches light your path to a dark red tent. The warmth of the small flames waft the cold away from your face. When you arrive, he pulls one curtain to the side and ushers you in. Inside, an old decrepit woman with a gleam of insanity in her eye smiles back at you with a small dip of her head and states, "Have a seat, dearie. We have much to discuss." Do you go in and sit down?
I will. I'll bow my head a little lower than she did, or whatever would be a polite greeting.
Okay.
Barovia.
She, as you take a seat, she just starts to ramble like a dementia patient. The realm of Barovia starting 757 years ago, give or take. The days run together in a long silhouette of the sun, you are aware, dancing like a shadow in the frame of the midday sky. The Count, then only known as Strahd von Zarevich, conquered the land of Barovia in the name of his father. Have you ever heard the tale of King Barov?
I may have heard bits and pieces, but please enlighten me.
We will save for another time. Perhaps when there is less urgent matters to discuss. Either way, he constructed the castle in the name of his mother, Ravinia, yes? Of whom he invited the widow to come and live with him. We aren't certain what brought the fog, as you know, but in the circumstance that you didn't know, it set in shortly after. As did the horrors of which I know you are all too familiar. Horrors in numbers too great to discern, she says, shaking her head. As you've seen in the mansion, society does indeed crumble under the lightest misfortune. A feather fall of ill omen in the forest catches fire with worry. Before those fall into hysteria, the most desperate tend to rise. The desperate will latch on to anything they can, yes, even if it pulls them under. Like sailors on a capsizing ship. No one is certain what the entity is that resides in that house, but it has taken the lives of many, Ismark. What questions have you for me?
Wish to know how I can protect my sister.
Yes. That is the question of the hour, is it not? For it would seem that she is the last of what you hold dear, no?
I have nothing left but her.
I am sure you are aware that you are not the only one who knows this. She,
Well, who else knows?
Oh,
What do they know?
tell me, dear Ismark, whom is it that you would least wish to know this information? And there you will have your answer. As I am sure you know, it is no mystery of whom I speak, though I dare not see a reason speak their name. For would it do you any well?
Suppose not.
Ah, yes. I would agree. However, there is much else to discuss, and I am certain we will touch on your dear sister once more However, what if I told you that perhaps there is other worries other than Irina? Perhaps worries that she may assist you.
Please enlighten me as to if you think it is a more pressing matter, then please enlighten me.
Oh, no, I would never say that there is more pressing worry than that of love, even if for a sibling, no. But I hear, through the scurrying of whispers and the feather fall of rumor, that our dear Kolyan and Dervich has passed away, yes? And that would make you the Burgermeister of the village of Barovia, no? Is that why you're here?
Technically, it would fall to me, but you have heard what they call me. I'm Ismark the Lesser. The people would not embrace me for such a role.
Yes. Yes, Ismark the Lesser. They never specify the lesser of what. They only laugh and move on about their way. And yet through trials and successes they find their way to exploit your faults. Who are you to protect your sister, dear Ismark the Lesser?
So Ismark will kind of hang his head and kind of reflect on that for a moment. I do not know. I suppose we shall find out.
Perhaps, my dear boy, we shall let you find out now. And with that, she cuts a deck. She turns over a card. Don't mind this. I'll get to it in a minute. She turns over a card with a skeletal figure holding two swords. He is dressed in dark armor, and subtle details of his mask depict skeletal features. The bottom reads, "The Forlorn Knight." It is something that brings them fear. The Forlorn Knight. What more does a warrior need than virtue? But what more is there to fear than a man with nothing to lose? But you haven't found the bottom of that hole yet, have you, Ismark? There is another.
It would seem not.
Yeah? And she would kind of nod at your word. There is another that wishes to take all that you hold dear. The Count is not alone in these endeavors. I have seen his stature, but his face is a puzzling mystery. There will be more that look to take her, dear boy. Did your father ever tell you of her arrival?
I was very young then. I do not. I think I know. She's not my blood.
Yes. Then you know of your greatest endeavors in keeping people safe and keeping your sister safe from the nightmares, no? Surely, at some point, you will tell her of what you remember when she came stumbling from the wood. Surely more of her origin may lead you to Strahd's desire. He is a man of record. Perhaps he will have something about his castle. Time will tell, Ismark. And with that, she gathers the card from the table, but she sets it separately from the others.
Okay.
And she gathers her cards back up. Tell me, dear boy, what do you know of the superstitious? And as she says superstitious, she audibly slaps that against the and you hear a loud shuffle of cards.
I know that there are things that I cannot explain.
A wise person once told me, dear boy, that being superstitious was only stupid if it didn't work. So,
I heard it another way. You're only paranoid if they're not out to get you.
Yes, well, everyone is out to get someone else, no? For the Count is after your sister, and perhaps you are after him? I suppose a fair question, my dear boy. Have you poisoned the minds of those you travel with? Do you wish to bend their will to kill the Count?
I do not know that directing them towards killing the Count would even be considered poisoning their minds. For he is a dark overlord. I would soon see his grips removed from my family.
Might I remind you, dear boy, that sinking to his level and earning his features will do nothing more than replace your name with his in the annals of history.
Is this fair?
Now, dear Ismark, I must ask of you, left or right?
Left.
You are the first to take the left. Your compatriots seem fond of the right way. However, it would seem our lens unfaithful. The hanged man in reverse. Tell me, dear son, what do you think this card means for you? As surely you see the hanged man faces towards you.
It is a likely reflection of what is to come.
Perhaps, dear boy, but if I may, the hanged man represents knowing sacrifice. When we realize we must accept a short-term difficulty for a long-term gain. However, for you, dear boy, as all things among the fog, this shall reveal helplessness, impatience, confusion, and selfishness. If our prayers were to be answered, may we hope that these are not true. Our first drawing, the 3 of Wands. Yes, I see. And it would seem this has already come true. For the 3 of Wands shows that the path is clear, and you need only invest time and energy to succeed. As it lays, it reveres adventure and optimism. And tell me, dear child, how do you feel in your days of travel?
How do I feel in my days of travel?
Yes, sir.
I feel wary. The path ahead is long and unknown to me.
All right. Heavy is the muddy boot of the traveler, and the head of whom wears the crown, no?
Indeed.
Oh, yes. Another foreboding tale, then. The 9 of Swords. Tell me, dear sir, how many swords do you fight with these days? 4, 5?
I tend to prefer 2 blades.
Mm.
But
And if you were to hold 2 against 9, would you feel confident that you, sir, are capable of walking away?
I would feel better with 9 swords at my side rather than opposed.
You should know, my Ismark, there is a fear you need to face. This card warns you to protect yourself from the cruelty of others. In its position, warning and foreboding, though you dare not need any mystical power to tell you of such. And lastly, your future, my dear boy. The 2 of Swords. Can you see that well?
Yes.
Yes. A strange winged figure perched upon 2 swords. Why, I wonder if they had you in mind. Tell me, son, do you feel as if you are at peace with your decisions? Though perhaps you were thrust into this fate, do you often find yourself in doubt?
Certainly doubt the choices that I have made, but there's only one direction to travel from here, and that is forwards.
I see. And tell me, dear boy, what are the questions that you frequent in doubt?
I worry that I do not have what it takes to lead, what it takes to protect those I care about, that I will be a disappointment to my father, my people, that I am not strong enough to stand up.
I see. And you would know, dear child, had you any power with the mystics, that perhaps this card may suit you well, dear boy. But before I tell you of its meaning, I must warn you, do not become arrogant or overconfident in your abilities, as they will certainly deceive you. However, the 2 of Swords, a rather magnificent card, no? Very deceitful in its appearance, for you have a strange, malformed figure perched atop 2 swords. Why, the moment any imbalance of power will send the figure tumbling towards the abyss. However, you should be at peace with your decisions. Do not look back or revisit them, for they have brought you to this point, and as you have stated, there is only one direction to move, and that is forward. In the way that it lies, you will have your trials and tribulations. However, your greatest battles will be won in your mind, dear boy, as this card will show self-deception and obstinance. And I fear that you are able to turn and make your decisions appropriately, and judge when you, sir, are not good enough to move forward, and to decipher when you are simply telling yourself that you are not too good enough to move forward. Do you understand me?
Think so.
All righty. Well then, there is more, my dear boy. My Ismark the Lesser. Are you familiar with the tools needed to rid the land of this curse?
I'm not. The only tools I have at my disposal are those I have brought with me.
There are more. I reckon perhaps now that we know you, we must first learn the tools you need. Let us see where they are. With that, she pulls out a second deck of silver shimmers emanating from two ravens. These hang on. Ah, yes. These were given to me as a gift from Ravinia some several hundred years ago, when we found Strahd wounded and left for dead. A great time for gestures, no? Anyway, it will bring us some good fortune, as it will let us know where lies the power to free those whom remain tortured here. Oh, yes. The Evoker. Oh, dear boy. I am sure you have heard the rumors, the tales, the horrors of the ruins of Perez. More importantly, I am sure you've heard the tale of Baba Lysaga.
Only in whispers. They speak of a great, powerful worker of magics.
Ah, yes, you should know. She a hermit. She spends most of her time crafting and animating scarecrows to hunt down and kill the ravens and the were-ravens that infest Strahd's domain. When she isn't working evil magic, she often sacrifices beasts to the Mother Night and collects their blood, and then bathes in the blood on nights of a full moon in a ritual to stave off the effects of extreme old age. She was also known to be the midwife of Queen Ravinia of Royan, and that she is a terrible, terrible foe. However, dear Ismark, the forlorn knight, you will find in her domain that she hold a tome, one of which will detail all the lore of the land, including how Count Strahd came to power. Perhaps something in the binds of its pages will lead you to what it is you wish, even if you choose not to poison the minds of your friends. Oh, yes, the Abjurer. Tell me, child, for I am certain that magic is almost nearly a mystery for you. Are you familiar with the term abjuration?
I have not studied magic. I have no skill in the art myself.
It would seem likely as such. However, I must tell you, the Abjurer is often, how can I say this? One who wields magic for protection, be it through shields or perhaps some way to abstain or mitigate the ways of the elements. Why, I've seen someone cast a spell and reach into a fire only to draw the hottest ember among the bed. After they held it for a few moments, they simply cast it to another as a joke. Yet their hand remained untarnished. I must tell you, Ismark, the Abjurer is a very dangerous foe, for it represents not the protection of itself, but the protection of others. Tell me, child, are you familiar with the Amber Temple?
So breaking character, I don't guess he would have any knowledge of that. No.
Not a whole lot of it, I'm sure.
Okay. I am unfamiliar.
Oh, yes. Buried within the depths of the Amber Temple lays a blade so powerful it is said it could cut the sun from the mists. It lies in a secret room adjacent to the preserved library. If it were so simple, it seems. This is only the blade. We will have to search the hilt, or rather for the hilt. But I am afraid, as of now, it rests beyond the mists. However, you should know, as the Abjurer, there has been a long darkness that has been held and sealed within these walls. Do take care, Ismark. And lastly, the merchant. As I am sure your rather fortunate palate may know of the Wizard of the Wines. Do you know the story of the Wizard of the Wines?
I do not know the full story, but I know that they are able to make their grapes for wine grow, even here in Barovia, where
Oh, yes.
so little sun.
And do you know why, dear boy?
I do not.
Before the mist set in, before the realm came to be what it is now, there was a man, a great wizard, so to speak, who took 3 diamonds, each the shape of a pine cone, large and teardrop in formation, and he buried them among the soil. And as the vines began to grow, so did they continue to when the sun came blotted with the fog. You will know, however, that this winery and vineyard was taken from that young man and bequeathed to a noble Kreskov family, of whom an arranged marriage between the Kreskovs and the Martikov family led to the land being taken over by a Martikov descendant. Gathering their idol may bring you some advantage when it is time to cull the plagues of this land. Oh, why, yes, dear boy. She even faintly resembles her. For per the mystery of the cards, you will need the faith and love and abilities of your dear sister. And should you so look to fight the Count, your only way to victory will be to slay him in the dungeon. Do you believe you have what it takes, dear boy?
I must have faith.
Yes. As I said before, there is a vast difference between your mind and your reality, and they will often intertwine. Let us hope you will know when to decipher which. Now, there is more Ismark the Lesser, our forlorn knight. There is one within the gates of Valakai that will take you among the mist, through them even, to a place of vast importance. Though he will not reveal himself until you are prepared, it would be wise you not ask for him by name unless you are certain you speak it only to those you trust. His alias? Jarek the Fisher. Present him with one of our elixirs. She holds up it's rectangular in shape, but it slenders into a cylindrical neck, like a bottle. Think of like a bottle of like Midori. It's filled with a dark red liquid with silver shimmers that kind of float around almost like glitter. Give me 1 second. And this note. And she hands you the card from earlier with the depiction of the knight wielding 2 swords. But you will need something first. A potion brewed by the Vistani, much like this one. We have 2, yet we will need a third, as there are 6 of you. And from one of your compatriots we have learned that you have found another. To make this, we will need 3 rubies that will be ground by an obsidian mortar and pestle, which we will also need 3 hair of a Luke Guru and a flower from the Gothias tree at Yester Hill. You must imbibe this before traversing the fog, or you will never see the other side. I implore you, Ismark, bring it here, as you are aware there are those among us you cannot trust. It would be best for safe brewing if you bring the reagents to me. We shouldn't have you followed. I must also beg of you. It would seem, after speaking to so many of your compatriots, that there is more than your freedom and the hilt of the sun sword beyond the fog. Your true meaning lies outside of Barovia. It is imperative that you gather these, as I say, so that we may learn how to rid Barovia of the curse that plagues every square inch of this land. Is there more you desire of me now, young forlorn knight?
You have given me much to contemplate, and I am thankful for giving me your time.
Very well, dear. You may go now with Baru Jamir and send me your sister, for she and I have a great many things to discuss.
Very good. Will I go literally retrieve her?
Yeah, if she's ready to go. We'll go ahead and
Do you
stop
need a
recording.
minute to prepare?
I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording.